You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here is your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Well, good Monday morning, everybody. I am Glenn the Geek from Ocala, Florida, and Jamie, wait 1 minute. Jamie will be here. She has to take off her snorkel and her mask.
I was like, where are you going? Yeah. 9 inches of rain yesterday.
Oh my God.
9 inches. And it was 10 in just southeast of me, like 2 miles southeast. All the roads are still closed. Bridges have collapsed. I had to take 3 detours to get home from the grocery store yesterday. It was utter chaos out here. This in the vein of what happens here in Oklahoma when I moved here and everything was a disaster. People always say, this never happens. Well, we never get 9 inches of rain in August. Thank you. I'm in Norman, Oklahoma, and you're listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for Monday, August 12th, episode 3495, brought to you today by WERM Flooring. Good morning, horse people.
You have found Horses in the Morning on a Monday. You're in for an amazing horsey week of laughter, learning, and fun with Glenn and Jamie.
That's right. We are here for another week. Jec Ballou is going to join us to talk about her book, 33 Strength and Fitness Workouts for Horses. We're going to discuss a post I saw about lessons learned from the Olympics. And do we have any equestrian first world problems? Anybody have any problems?
There might be some really intense problems people have today.
And then we're going to, in the Auditor Post show, we're going to do an equestrian Would You Rather and some other stuff too.
God, I hate that. I hate that. Yesterday, I'm sitting in the kitchen and Lucas turns to me and he goes, "Hey, Mom, would you rather get rid of the dogs or me?" God, I hate this game.
Where did that one come from?
I don't. He does it to me all the time. Mom, would you rather keep me or Dad? Like,
mine aren't quite that intense.
My like anxiety level prickles when I hear the "Mom, would you rather?" Oh God,
mine aren't that intense. So you'll be fine. So the Mongol Derby, believe it or not, still going on. And they're in day 5. Missy Morgan, who is our South African girl who was in the top 3 last week, apparently had quite a day yesterday. She took a lead. She's now almost a horse station and a half ahead of everybody else. She apparently yesterday, it was hot. Apparently it was really hot in Mongolia. And what does Mongolia not have any of, Jamie, when we see the pictures from Mongolia?
I'm going to go with rain, air conditioning, ice, anything like that.
They have no trees, no shade.
Yeah, shade too. Any of those things.
There's no trees. So they were pretty hot yesterday, apparently. But she pulled 2 horses that apparently were race horses that had won races all over Mongolia. She just got lucky. And her second horse, she had to get into the horse station. There's a hard cutoff at the end of every day. And you have to be at the horse station. If you come in 30 seconds late, you get a 3-hour penalty, and it puts you way behind. Well, she came in 1 minute from the close of the day. She did 30 kilometers in an hour and 45 minutes on that pony. Apparently, this pony just goes, and they vet him out, and apparently the heart rate went down in 15 minutes, and she was fine.
Wow.
Everything was good. She just got lucky with ponies, but she's way ahead. Josh Edwards is still there, our rodeo guy from Texas, and Sam Jones from Australia is still in the top 3. She's at station 18. They have 25, so another day and a half. They've been riding a long time. It's a long time to be on a horse. And you have exciting thing happening today too, right?
It's Anna Day. It's Anna Day. I'm so excited. Anna has left. She flew in. This is our foreign exchange student who gets here. She flew on Friday to New York City with a lot of the STS folks. And they spent the weekend in New York, and then she is flying here now. So I pick her up at 5:45 tonight. So I'm super excited.
For new listeners, we had a guy contact us from, what's the name of the organization?
STS.
STS.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. And he said, I have these foreign exchange students who are into horses. Would you announce it on the show? So that's what we did. We announced Anna actually on the show. And then Jamie said, well, I'll take her. I'll do it. That'd be fun.
I'll do it. So we've made a poster. Lucas decorated a poster, and we put ribbons on it. So we go pick her up at the airport, like with a sign. I've always wanted to do that for anybody.
Yeah.
So we get to go there, park, put our little sign up, everything. This poor girl, 15 years old, she flew out of Newark this morning. Guess where she's flying to after Newark?
Oh,
Atlanta. And then she goes Atlanta to Oklahoma City. I'm like, oh God. She was like, I'm so scared. I was like, I bet you are. I was like, here's what I would do. Anybody that looks like a pilot, go ask them. They will help you. Anybody who looks like a pilot. You see this little young German girl, like with a broken English, like, hi, I need to get to Oklahoma. Oh, precious. So yeah,
I bet she's going to start school almost immediately, right?
She starts school on Thursday.
Well, there's nothing like landing and starting school. Wow.
I know. I feel bummed, but like I thought she was supposed to be here like a week. She could get acclimated. Nope, right to it, baby.
And she's a horse girl, right?
Yes. So she had a horse that she leased in Germany, and I mean, so it's funny. Pictures, and every one of the pictures she sent me for 6 months is of Simon, Simon the horse. And it's funny because in Germany we call it lease. She calls it her foster pony.
Oh,
and I was like, what does that mean? And so I contacted my friend in Germany, Denise, and I was like, what is a foster pony? And she's like, it's kind of a loan pony or a lease pony is what they call it. That's just kind of like in the area what they call it. So she kept saying her foster pony, and I had to get to the bottom of that. Like, what is that? But she sent me pictures like her last day of riding him. She had to say bye to him for a year. I was like, don't worry. I'll have plenty. I'll have plenty for you to ride.
You won't have that problem. And I just took your daily Winnie, I saw. So I apologize for that. And I don't have any birthdays today either. So we'll just pass right over that. There's no birthdays.
No, because guess what I did today?
What?
I'm so excited. So I talked about last week how I jumped my little Ace baby. Like, it seemed like it was 9 feet. I jumped him 9 feet tall, Glenn. And I go over it, and Chad is videoing, and I'm like, oh my God, it was so big. And Chad goes, congratulations, you hit 2 feet. And I was like, wait, what? My dog just ran under you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, don't knock anything.
My dog just ran underneath my desk and pulled the cords out. Okay.
That used to be a thing every day.
I know. One dog that chewed the cord in half while on the air. That was fun. Yeah. So I jumped him. I was like, no, that can't be 2 foot. Like it was 9 feet. Like I just like literally scaled a puissance, and he was like, no, that's 2 foot. And so today I jumped 2'3". Yay!
Yay!
It's like I said, the height of the fear that you feel at the jump directly corresponds to the horse you're sitting on. Like, I mean, I competed Jet up through prelim, and like nothing. I mean, that was 3.6. Nothing bothered me with him. Yet a 2 foot jump, and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
I think that's true of most things in life, isn't it? It all depends on the situation.
Yeah, who you're with, what you're doing. Yeah.
Yep. So I want to give some love to the youngsters. The USEF Pony Jumper Team Championship happened over the weekend at the Kentucky Horse Park. And apparently, talk about jumping. It's a perfect segue because it was a tough day of jumping. Of the 26 rounds tackled by 13 riders, 9 ended in elimination, including several falls. Apparently, it was a tough track.
This is like show jumping?
Yes. Only 2 of the 4 teams finished, and the silver medal team finished with 52 faults. So there was one team, though, that went clear and ended up winning the thing, and that was Melinda Slaus, Kinzer Vale, and Rains Gammon, all contributed to the clear round, and they ended up winning the USEF Pony Finals, and they were first-timers. They were all their first time at the Pony Finals, and they were one of very few to go clear. That must have been a fun one to watch. My God. A lot of people falling off.
It's like one of those like they just go around, everybody's falling off. Like I said, when I would compete and you're like a schooling day, airbags were popping like popcorn out there. I mean, geez, like sounds crazy.
It was crazy, apparently. All right, WERM Flooring now does trailer roofs. Leaky roofs are a common problem with horse trailers and RVs. WERM Flooring's revolutionary silicone-based coating creates a barrier against heat and wet. First, it seals your roof to stop leaks before they start, and second, it reflects back nearly 90% of those nasty UV rays, keeping your trailer or barn up to 60 degrees cooler on a blistering day. So ditch the duct tape and the buckets, invest in long-lasting peace of mind with Seal and Chill. It's applied by pros for a flawless finish, and it's only $7.50 per square foot. That's a steal for a cooler, drier, happier trailer or RV, which means happier horses and happier people. Head on over to wormflooring.com to find a dealer near you, either for the roof or for the floor. You can find a dealer near you at WERM Flooring. That's WERM flooring.com. So I was going to do a study show. We'll do that later in the week because I came across this post on Facebook. It's from Ranger Point Ranch Horses, which I've never heard of, but it was one of those things that popped up.
Which, did they write it or did they just share it?
I think there was no credit given, so they might have written it. They seem to write these kind of things when I went to their page. Okay. So I think they're probably ones that did it. And it was Dear Horse Industry. There's a lot that can be learned from Simone Biles. As most of us know, at the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, Simone decided to pull herself from competition and received backlash of all sorts from all kinds of people for being a quitter. She let it down her country. She received a lot of hate. And these are people that don't even care about women's gymnastics. And she came back 4 years later, and here she won 3 gold and a silver. So obviously a tremendous comeback. We've all heard that story. So this post goes on, what can we as equestrians learn from a small woman who flips in the air with such tremendous power? First is put yourself first. She pulled herself for competition because the condition called the twisties, which causes gymnasts to lose track of where they are in the air. And as horsemen, we need to acknowledge when we are not our best and know when to step away from the barn, the ride, or even the competition. You and I have talked about this over the years. There are days when you just need to walk away. Right?
Oh, for sure.
You're not in the mental space. They know you're not. The horses know you're not in the mental space. I don't know if you can hear the rain, but it just started pouring here.
I can't.
So, I just thought that was a good point that we forget sometimes that we can just, let them be horses that day and walk away. And I wonder how many of us are disciplined enough to do that. Or is it because we just drove to the barn and, it's our only time to see the horse that week. I'm staying no matter what. Sometimes that turns out okay. Sometimes not.
I'm thinking like on the flip side of that, and I know this is off, but I've been hearing like with all the rain that happened over the weekend, like it was a nice weekend, the temperature wise, but it was so much rain. And people are like, I haven't ridden my horse in months. And on the flip side of that, Simone Biles doesn't quit working. And I mean, I wake up, Glenn, at 6:30 and ride in the morning before it gets too hot. Like on the days that I don't walk away, just to give myself a break. But on the other flip side of that, respect how much she works. And people work. Like, I know that kind of is opposite of what you're saying, but by putting yourself first, give yourself the opportunity to get it done as well.
Right. And she did. I mean, she backed away when she needed to and then came back, right? She didn't quit. She just backed away. She's one of the most decorated gymnasts. This goes on to explain that. But she's also very kind. And you saw that all throughout the competition. She's kind, she's talented, she's helpful with her competitors even. When they kneeled at when they kneeled for was it the Spanish girl who won the gold? And they kneeled on the podium for her. So, she goes on to talk about people talk. They're nasty, but
the Brazilian girl. Oh,
yes,
what a
the Brazilian
backstory
girl.
she has. Oh my God. I'm talking more about gymnastics than
I know.
anything. Because I think she's just unbelievable. And her backstory, her mom had 9 kids and was a single mom. And it seems like she basically let these people take her 9-year-old daughter because they knew to give her. Oh my God, too much. Okay, I'm gonna cry. God.
And this goes on. You can be the kindest, most talented, most beautiful, and most helpful individual, and you will still have folks that will talk about all of your shortcomings. People will create
That's
reasons
true.
not to like you, and as an athlete, you need to acknowledge that and not dwell on it. The horse community is known for this kind of behavior, and it can wear a person down fast. You learned that posting your videos.
Man, I have learned that lesson so much, and I'm to the point now
But it's
where
sad.
it is, and I definitely don't post befores anymore because it just too many people not understanding what I'm doing, but also, and the same thing about the people talk now not on the scale of Simone Biles, but God, I just don't care anymore. I just don't care. As long as you're not hurting my business or whatever, I just don't care. Say what you want. I don't care. I'm just going to delete you and block you. She can't do that, obviously, but to people that are dealing with that, teenage girls today, I can't imagine being a teenage girl and having social media. Being a teenage girl is hard enough, but having social media on top of it, oh my God.
Yeah, it just adds to, you only had the hallway and the bus before, right? So, yeah, now you have everything. This must be something I missed. Was there some comments about Simone's hair during the competition?
So people were saying, oh, look at her hair because she has flyawood, those little wispies that pop up. And I did see her say something about, you don't talk about a black girl's hair. You just don't. And so her hair was never perfect and slicked down and everything. But good God, how could it be? She's doing 900 flips in the air at the same time. I can't even get my hair to stay in a ponytail when I'm just walking.
Yeah, her third point was perfect hair doesn't equal a perfect score. Obviously, her score was good enough. Nobody cared about her hair. And that's true in the horse world, especially the Western world, where appearance is very, very much a thing. Slowing down doesn't mean quitting. That was her fourth point, and I think we've kind of gone through that. And then build others up. She did such a good job of helping others, and I think you're true, even in the horse world. You see that Boyd's a good example of that. He does a good job of helping others, and I think most of your professional riders that are at the top of their sport also are ones who help others and build each other up. I do think we see that in the horse world more than we acknowledge. Yeah, there's that negativity out there. But when you go to, especially eventers, they're going to help each other out. I think eventers especially help each other out more than any other group I've seen. It happens some in the Western world too. If you need something, if you forgot your girth, somebody's going to have a girth. If they're going to help you out because they've been in that situation, and let's face it, it's a dangerous situation. Everybody's in it together. So I do think I'm going to give some credit to the horse world that way. I think you do see that. Maybe not in all parts of the horse world, but in some.
To be fair, that's why I loved eventing when I first, because I grew up in the hunter world my whole life. And then I got to eventing and I'm like, why are these people so nice? Everybody's so nice to each other and cheering each other on, because I think at some point you realize this is all, and you don't have to compete against the person next to you. You compete against yourself. And that's what I like about that sport in particular, but maybe other sports have come around.
Yeah, I think some of them have. I think there's probably some that have not. But was a good point, and she was a perfect example of supporting her teammates and supporting people from other countries and being happy for people who did well. You don't have to be a jerk. I think this is what it's all coming down to, isn't it?
Hey, get your stuff done, work hard, take time away when you need it, and don't be a jerk.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. That's a perfect wrap up. All right, let's hear about Purina, and then we're going to go to our guest for today.
There's more to talk than ever about the importance of probiotics in equine health, but not all probiotics are created equal. New Purina Systemic Supplement remains live and active after the pelleting process and throughout the digestive system, making it all the way to the hindgut. Systemic was designed to support normal recovery after exercise and occasional gastrointestinal stress. Whether you're using a probiotic now or not, it's time to use a live and active supplement from a name you trust. New Purina Systemic Probiotic.
Well, our guest today is Jec Ballou. She's been coming on our shows for many, many years. Dressage show, this show, and other shows here on the network. She's a horse trainer and a top-selling author of multiple books. She combines an expertise in equine exercise physiology and classical dressage to promote simple, straightforward instruction, focusing on proper biomechanics and athleticism. And forget all that. She's just a lot of fun. And she wrote a new book that will help everybody out. Hi, Jec.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me on the show. It's really an honor.
Well, it's fun to have you back again. So, a new book. It was just time to write another one, or you had this in your head and you had to get it out?
No, I was joking to somebody the other day. It's like, I don't have kids, but this is how people describe labor. It's like you do it and you're like, I'm never doing that again. That was so much work. Oh, my God. But this amnesia seems to happen with me after I write a book each time. And yeah, I guess I was like, it's time to do another one.
That's how people end up with 4 or 5 kids too, Jec.
I guess maybe books are a little saner. I don't know. But yeah, I just kept hearing from people that, more and more we're starting to understand that horses are not robots. You don't just kind of pull them out on Saturday and have a great ride. It actually helps if they're fit for what we're asking them to do. And I think that's been great. But a lot of people get overwhelmed with all the information that's available nowadays. Like, there's so many exercises. Which exercises should I do? And how do I put them together? And what's the outcome? And so I just thought writing down structured workouts is what I was hearing people needed. And so that's what I've endeavored to do.
And the book's called 33 Strength and Fitness Workouts for Horses. So I assume this is for the horses and you or the horses or both?
Oh, it's funny you mentioned that. It's mostly for the horses, but I will say there's a whole chapter on groundwork, fitness-based groundwork routines. And I'm full disclosure, the handler does get a fair amount of movement in that chapter. Yes.
Okay, there you go. So, and what I thought was interesting about this is you usually see these books where they focus on one thing. They focus on dressage. They focus on endurance. They focus on eventing, right? They focus on cross country. Your book kind of covers everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I try to. This is really geared towards what I call the average everyday rider. Folks that have just gone to the Olympics and people like that have a very sport-specific kind of fitness they're after, and they have their high-performance coaches, and they're at the end of the spear, so to speak. But most of us that just want to improve our everyday performance, the fitness gains that we need in our horse, it really, they do translate across all the disciplines. It's only at the highest level of performance that you need to be very, very specific about the things you're doing in terms of fitness.
So no matter what you're doing, trail riding, lower level competition of English or Western, this book would have something for them?
Yeah, totally. You've got your basic cardio, your basic strength, and that includes the postural muscles as well as the gymnastic muscles. So there's parallel there with people, human fitness as well. Mm-hmm.
All right. So can you give us an example or two about what you're looking at in the book?
Yeah, I'd love to. One of the things I think that I'm most psyched about is there's a chapter on hill workouts. And if you live in a pancake flat area, don't panic. Because when it comes to working on hills, I feel like it's like the Wild West, like your vet might tell you, hey, your horse has a weak hind end, you should ride hills. But there's no clarity on how to do it. And so people either think more is better, or they don't want to overdo things and they don't do enough. So I think what the book does really well in the chapter that is specifically for hills is it shows you how, the minimum dosage that you need in order to make gains. And for most people, it's less than they might think. So one of my favorite exercises is called the 45-20. And it is, you do a warm up and then you make your way to a gradual slope. You do not need a steep hill. Gradual is better. And you do an extended walk up the hill, 45 seconds, turn around, and you do a collected walk down the hill for 20 seconds. And you repeat that 8 to 10 times, kind of depending where your horse is at fitness wise. And then you do a cool down, and that's your whole routine. So you're targeting the extensor muscle chain on the horse and the flexor muscle chain on the horse with that routine. It's not stressful. This is not a cardio workout. This is a strength workout. But I can't think of many disciplines that don't need to improve the flexion and extension capabilities of their horses. I mean, that's really, any athlete needs to be able to do that.
How often?
No,
yeah, go ahead.
I've done, sorry, but just about the hill work. I've done things where I've had to rehab horses with, IUPF and some stifle issues. And when you go up the hill, you're supposed to kind of zigzag down according to, like you said, the vest just kind of throw stuff out. Do you recommend just walking straight down the hill, or do you make like a zigzag down the hill?
Well, it's funny because there's a separate workout called zigzag hills.
Oh, okay.
And yeah. And there's a purpose to do both. But in the case you just mentioned, like sometimes if horses have really bad stifles, like you get to the top of the hill and turn around, and there's possibility they might lock on the downhill, or they might just really not want to do it because they're that weak and unstable. Then something like a zigzag or like a kind of a curvy serpentine motion down the hill would be a little bit gentler on them, a little bit more progressive. Yeah, so there's a time and place for both, but Zigzag Hills is in there as well.
Okay, cool. I need the book.
And how often would you do that in a week? Once, twice?
Just once.
Once?
Just once. Because I am assuming, and I make the case in the book, that this book's really, it's only going to benefit your horse if they're in a regular exercise program. Like, definitely don't take a horse that only gets out, a couple times a month and do a strength workout with them. Please don't do that.
Well, I was just thinking, I need to have a horse trained enough to actually just walk up a hill out in the field. Cool. Got to start somewhere.
Right. Absolutely.
So what do you see when you see people, and you see a lot of people, and when you're putting a book like this together, when you see people make mistakes, what are the ones that annoy you the most? Is it pushing them too hard? Not, what bothers you?
Yeah, it's funny, Glenn, because I've been writing books for a while. And when I started writing books about horse fitness, it was just what you said. I felt like people were pushing their horse too hard, but that was like 20 years ago. Time's flying. I feel like nowadays, there is the tendency, because we know so much more about horse wellness, it's almost like the more you know, the more fragile we realize these animals are in a way. And I find that in many cases, people are hesitant to put those hard efforts in there. Like they might kind of work their horse easy all the time. They might work them consistently 5 or so days a week, but it's all at this really, really easy level. And, from a relationship standpoint, that's really good. But from a physiological standpoint, they do need hard efforts of work. Same with humans. Not every day, but about once a week or every 10 days.
So we're getting softer is what I'm hearing. On our horses and ourselves.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I thought
that's what I heard.
my other the other thing I see a lot of, and this kind of makes me smile, is people will find an exercise that they think their horse really likes, and sometimes it's that they really like it, but it may be both of them really like it, and they kind of just always do that exercise. I have students that maybe it's a ground pole routine or some sort of activity with the soccer ball or something like that. And they will just do that exercise, every week after week after week, because they my horse really likes it. And that's cool. But after a certain point, unfortunately, there's diminishing returns from a fitness standpoint. It's the same with people. You can't just go do the Stairmaster every single day, year after year. Your body adapts and it stops making gains. So that's the unfortunate bummer.
So young horses are a different ball game too. I mean, then if you have your 12-year-old or 16-year-old that's been there, done that, and is more fit and muscles are developed. Do you have anything in the book about young horses and getting them started? That's what Jamie does a lot, actually. Some of the horses she gets are off the track, and some haven't made it to the track, right? But they're all thoroughbreds on the younger side. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those kinds of horses, and there's some guardrails here in the book. The groundwork routines that are in this specifically, as well as some of the arena-based strength workouts, are really good. And I've made a note what's more important for young horses, because in many cases, especially with that kind of population you just mentioned, we are trying to build up the strength rather than get their cardio engine really revved up. A lot of times, especially those kind of race horses or horses that have done a lot of cardio when they're young, they have this supercharged engine on like a chassis that's kind of falling apart sometimes, to make a car analogy, So with those horses, it is about really building up the soft tissue, the connective tissue, the bones, rather than doing a lot of cardio.
Yeah.
That can come later, the cardio.
And I'm interested to know too about the workout. So with my young thoroughbred, I just got to the point where I was like, you know what, like we have got to do some strengthening, and it's not going to come from cardio. And so I spent almost an entire month just walking, working on things in the arena, going over some poles, bending lines, moving off the leg. I got them really good at like leg gilding across the arena and things like that. Are those some of the things you recommend? And what else could you add with a young horse?
Yeah. So with young horses, and it's a little different horse to horse, but there's also that component of making sure that we're keeping them mentally engaged too, right? And not going past their concentration levels. So there are some exercises in here, some ground pole routines, like I call it the wide pole serpentines, where you're alternating going over a set of poles that are spaced fairly wide apart and then serpentining your way back through them. And it tells you how many reps to do and then what to do during your rest phase before you come back and repeat the reps. That one would be useful for young horses, in my opinion, because it's not just a repetitive thing where you're just hammering away on the same task ad nauseum, so to speak, and you're sprinkling in some poles.
And that's a big part too, I think, with the young horses, is keeping their brain engaged. Even though their body might not be physically capable of doing something, they don't want to believe that sometimes. So you really have to keep their brain engaged. And just like I tell people that I'm working with them, like, just keep asking them questions. Just ask another question. Just keep asking questions. And it sounds like your book is exactly the right thing to like give them ideas of what questions to ask.
Yeah, I love how you phrase that. Keep asking them questions. Yeah, because it takes away that sort of idea that there's a right way to do something, right? It's like, well, every horse is different. Try this, try that.
And you brought up a good point, too, and I'm glad your book does this. You never know how many to do, how many reps should, and even in human fitness, when you're trying to figure it out yourself, that's where a trainer comes in, right? They know the right number of reps, the number of times you're supposed to do that. And that's something that I think is kind of missing, too, when you're working with your horse, without having
by yourself,
a guide. Yeah, without having a guide or a coach.
Yeah, it's really tricky. It can be very tricky, because just because an exercise is valuable, it doesn't give you guidance on how many times or how few times. Like sometimes you can do something once or twice and get the neurologic effect you're after, which seems too easy, right? To just do something once or twice.
Right. That's true. So it's called 33 Strength and Fitness Workouts for Horses, and it's practical conditioning plans for using groundwork, ridden work, poles, hills, and terrain. It can be found. Where should people go to find it?
People can get it anywhere. Amazon, my website, jecballou.com, horseandriderbooks.com.
Oh, so you're a Trafalgar? Is this a Trafalgar book?
Yes,
okay.
They do a beautiful job with books,
Well, I wanted to say
awesome.
with this one, I assume it has a ton of pictures. You probably want to do this, you want to get this book as opposed to having it on the phone.
I think so, except for your international listeners, because shipping costs are crazy, so the ebook's probably a good option for them.
Okay. Yeah, I did see it has a ton of pictures in it, which is great. So who'd you use for the pictures? Was that students or...
My own crew, and again, I don't have children, but I imagine photographing horses is as challenging as doing family portraits. To get the legs just right and the light, and oh my gosh.
That's funny. All right, so you've been on our show before, but we've never done a quick hits with you. Are you up for some fun?
Oh, wow. Okay. I think so.
All right. I knew you were coming on today, and I thought this would be fun to do with you. All right. So quick hits. These are just quick questions that you can give quick answers to. Your favorite breed?
Okay. Andalusian.
Oh, love you. Did I say that out loud? Sorry. Go ahead.
The horse you want back. Maybe you sold it. Maybe you gave it away. Not necessarily deceased, but the one you sold and then, you went, I wish I'd had that horse back.
It's funny. There's actually a horse in Portugal that I wish I bought, but never did.
There you go.
So does that count?
Okay. That counts. Did that horse go on to do great things?
No, he was just a really cool guy. He was a cool guy.
The horse you wish you'd never owned.
Luckily, I haven't owned that many horses in my life, so I can't think of one that I regret.
I don't think I've ever asked Jamie that question, the horse that you wish you'd never owned. I'm trying to think, too.
Gosh, if you're asking me, I don't know. I feel like every horse has taught me something, so
I drive ponies, and I had a pony. We called her the station wagon. Cindy was her name, and she was the fattest thing. She barely fit in the shafts when we bought her. And that was the slowest horse I drive hackney, so you know what kind of horses I like. And this was the slowest station wagon I've ever driven. She was just so slow. Your favorite saddle brand?
My favorite saddle brand. I think right now it's the Schleza.
Okay, cool. It's funny how people they usually zone in one saddle brand. Do you have a favorite breeches brand?
I don't. There's so many good ones out there. Most of them are out of my price range, but
the horse chore you hate the most?
I think scrubbing water buckets. My dad always said the slime in there was really natural and you should just leave it. But now I realize that's because he didn't like cleaning them either.
It's funny. That's the one job I do like doing around the farm. I'm the one that does. Yeah, I like doing that. Do you have a hobby outside of horses?
Oh, so many. Not surprisingly, I'm a long distance trail runner. And actually this week I'm headed up to run around Mount Rainier on the Wonderland Trail. So.
Okay, that just sounds crazy. So you're a mountain runner? Yeah?
Yeah, it's a little crazy, yeah.
Are you the one that does the 100-mile ones and stuff? The ultra marathons?
I do ultra marathons, but mostly I've just paced friends at 100-milers instead of racing them myself. That's how I'd convince myself I'm more sane, Glenn. I'm not the one racing.
Does that work?
Yeah.
And the final thing that everybody knows is a pet peeve of mine, and I think I know the answer already. Do you or have you ever hauled hay in your car?
A single bale. I have done it.
Yeah. I knew that was going to be the answer with you. I just knew it. That's a horse husband pet peeve right there. It's just because it never comes out.
I get it. I get it. It's as bad as dog hair. I mean, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Well, Jec, thank you so much for joining us. Again, it's 33 strength and fitness workouts for horses. Go out and get it today. It's for everybody. I love that about this book. And we appreciate you joining us again.
Thanks so much, guys. Take care. This was fun.
Your horse's health deserves the highest standard of quality. That's why Nutramax, the makers of Cosequin, maintain their own world-class manufacturing facilities in the United States, where they far exceed what is required of supplement companies. Nutramax works with top universities and researchers in their fields to make sure your horse has nothing but the highest quality supplements. With the mission of improving the lives of people and their horses, each product is backed by more than 80 quality checks and guaranteed to meet label claims, so you can purchase with confidence. With over 30 years behind the Cosequin name, you can rely on Cosequin products for when performance matters. Visit Cosequin.com to learn more. Let's do some question first world problems.
It's time for the weekly look at your equestrian first world problems. This ought to be good.
My first world problem is I have to put on glasses for this segment now. God, because I read them off my phone. Okay, yes, this is the time of the week where we read.
Well, you brought it up. So I have this thing I also found on Facebook down below, this meme that says things you say after 50. And one of them is, where did I put my glasses?
I'm not 50 yet, Glenn. All right, well, part of the equestrian first world problem segment that I put them up. You've got me all flustered now. On Sundays, I put up a post on the Horse Radio Network Auditors Facebook page asking what your problems are. And people are so generous to share. I think it's cathartic for everybody involved. And if you want to participate in this, become an auditor. How do they do that?
Just go to horseradionetwork.com, scroll down to the middle of the page, and click on the auditor banner.
For as little as $3 a week, you too can support the Horse Radio Network. Come on.
Thank you.
Get it together. All right. It's funny. Last Monday, I couldn't do any of it. So now I have it all. So Kathleen started with hers. She said, our donkeys have been through multiple obstacle challenges with hardly a flinch. Today, my mom rode her bike near the paddock wearing a yellow sweater. All hell broke loose.
Funny what they react
Oh my God! What is that?
It's funny what they react to, and it's something that you just don't expect them to go nuts over.
Well, the spookiest Andalusian on the planet, Miles, he's gotten so much better about everything until a human crests the horizon. And then he's like, oh my God.
There's humans everywhere there, Miles.
Yeah. Carrie says, mine has two parts, a free horse and no self-control. Please welcome Donatello.
Horses are never free.
This is super cute. I'd have taken it too, so you can send it to me if you don't want it. Jillian says, I did my first 50 this week, and I got a top 10. I'm assuming she's an endurance rider. I did my first 50 this week, and I got a top 10, but I'm so sore. And she says, wait, another tag underneath it. I can make it more first world. I'm just going to have to spend the rest of the day in my hot tub.
Yeah, okay, that's a good one. That's first world.
Adrian, some of these are like incredibly first world. This one, just Adrian says, I wrapped my buckets with new vet wrap. I guess she wrapped like the handle and I wrapped my buckets with new vet wrap and it matches my buckets. But the horses are going to get it all messed up and make it ugly brown by the end of the week. It is funny, the stuff we love, the stuff that makes us happy. Heather, I get it because she says the Olympics are over. Boo-hoo. Now I have no excuse for going to bed late and getting up late. Time to rise and shine. And then somebody else says, you need to watch the Paralympics. And she's like, yeah, because and then Jillian says, and I feel this, I'm seriously going to spiral into depression. This has been my identity for 2 weeks. Seriously?
Okay.
I've watched everything.
Okay, so I got to talk to you about one of the sports in the Olympics. And you know which one I'm going to mention because the memes and the funny videos that have come out about breakdancing.
It was really bad. It was really bad.
Oh my God,
I was so excited.
I thought just the memes were worth it. I mean, just the memes and the videos.
The whole like I didn't realize it was going to be like the equivalent of a rap battle, a dance battle, like what it's like Guardians of the Galaxy when he's trying to like do a dance battle. Like it was like, are you serious right now?
I mean, I was earlier than that whole thing. You know, I was born earlier than that whole thing. But I mean, even people that you have to admit it was pretty bad.
I really was excited about it, and it was really bad. Like it was bad.
The one girl that I've seen the most videos and memes about.
The one yawning.
The robot one there. She just
God.
She just was bad.
It was really bad. Okay, moving on.
I would declare that the worst sport I saw the whole time.
It was bad. Like, and then you think like that they can win a gold medal for that, yet Simone Biles to win the equivalent of the same type of gold medal has to do what she did, and you're like,
jump 17 feet in the air.
Yeah. Yeah. She should get like a half, or like she should get a double, I think. Julia says the weather this weekend was perfect for riding, but I had to go haul and stack my hay instead. Oh, I had to get like a full barn of hay for my horses. Like that is so first world.
That is first world.
Ursina said, I have 3 horses and I want to enter the local fair with one. And this seems like a reasonable ambition. But one is lame, one is injured, and one is ineligible. He's an intact stud and they keep canceling the appointment.
The old rubber band trick.
Oh, gross. Don't do that. Gwen says, my horse Banjo is moving to a new barn in a month and it has an indoor arena, so we're going to be able to ride anytime. but we aren't moving for another month. I want it, and I want it now.
Jamie would pay for that right now.
Oh, I'm so jelly. Chantel says, I'm scared to put my horse in the pasture because of her new pretty shoes.
By the way, you had 9 inches of rain. Is your mud like your gray horse is just brown?
It's crazy. It's crazy. And then they still rolled in the pond yesterday. So Ace needs shoes so bad. Like he just needs them. We're jumping now. It's time for him to get shoes. And I just am like, we have to wait till fall because he just lives in the pond like a hippo.
Yeah, they'll be gone in 2 minutes. His feet are so soft.
Says, yeah, exactly. Tanya says, I've been very steadily working with my horse to build up her fitness and her top line. I've done groundwork, hill work, added protein supplements, and spent money on regular body work. And we are making excellent progress, and you can see visible results. I'm so excited. But now my saddle doesn't fit. The saddle I bought for Ace, like, because we've been doing a lot of the same stuff. At first, it had like a pad underneath it with shims, and then I took the shims off, and now I've taken the whole pad out. So
you
better not bulk up anymore. I'm gonna have to, Chad, honey. Mel says, I finally upgraded my horse's grooming kit. And he now has fancy Haas brushes. That's like a big thing. People love those, right? Yeah. But I had to buy a new. Yeah, she says, but I had to buy a new car, and now I have to wait until my lesson on Tuesday to groom him. This very first world, Mel. Good job. Sharon says, I had an opportunity to go to carriage driving camp in Florida as a paid groom in October. But I'm going on a cruise with my family instead.
That'd be a tough one for most horse girls.
I know. Last one here. And it's from our dear friend, Charlie, the new owner of Taco Tuesday. She says, school starts tomorrow, so now I don't get to spend all day, every day with my pony. Love it.
How is it going? Have you heard?
Oh, I don't know if I'm supposed to mention it, but I will anyway. They've made a Facebook page called Taco Tuesday, the Wonder Pony. Oh my God. I love it. Everything is awesome. I'm so happy. So apparently, I guess I'm going to tell this story. I guess if you should know, if you're going to tell me something, this is what I tell everybody. If you're going to tell me something, you have to tell me specifically not to talk about it on the show.
They've been listeners for years. They've heard you say that 100 times. So
Okay. So we're good. So I guess she was riding Taco bareback in the arena, but Mom put her on a saddle pad, not a bareback pad, just a saddle pad.
Oops.
On the horse. Yeah.
She slid right off.
She goes to squeeze Taco to go forward, and Taco was like, trot? Okay. And I guess took off at a trot. Well, that saddle pad is just going to go kaput, Yeah. So, of course, then Charlie goes kaput. But she's been practicing her emergency dismount where you hug the horse's neck and you slide off. Oh, my God. She said she went to fall off, and he stopped faster than you could have possibly asked. Oh, my God, what a good boy. I love it. He didn't take off bucking and kicking. She slid right off the side, grabbed his neck on the way down, and he froze. I was like, oh, I just love that. I just love it. Somebody asked me yesterday, is it hard not to have Taco here? And I was like, Taco is exactly where Taco needs to be.
That is true.
Yeah, it's just perfect.
Yeah, I'm
just
glad
perfect.
You found a home. That's so cool.
Now, here's the other thing I'm dealing with. This new horse that I bought. The horse that I got off Craigslist last week. Anybody help me? So he was in a pasture with 3 mares and 3 foals, and he was the gelding. Okay. And there's a video, I think I posted it, of him, like the mares and foals. I'm riding him in the field, and the mares and foals gallop by. And I was like, oh God. And he didn't move a muscle. Like he didn't care. So now I've had him here. And I did ride him on Saturday before the rain and just walking him around and stuff. And he was fine. But he's like, it's like he's depressed. He's just, I mean, he'll eat grass like he's out grazing, but he won't eat grain. I bring him in and he just kind of like looks at the food that I have. And so I've messaged his old owners and I'm like, what did you feed him? Because he won't eat. Like he's just depressed. And I'm like, dude, it could have been a lot worse for you. Okay. You were sold on Craigslist. Appreciate where you're at. He misses I think he misses the mares and foals, like, cause there's no mares here. Like I don't know. He just kind of like, meh. So I contacted his owners and I'm like, what kind of feed did you have? They're like, well, we got the sweet feed from Shawnee. And I'm like, that's an hour away. Like I can't go to Shawnee and buy a particular type of sweet feed. So I've been treating him some ulcer guard, and he actually did eat. He nibbled at his food this morning as opposed to like completely ignoring it. So I'm going to keep treating him in his tummy, but man,
he's just depressed.
He is.
Yeah. Just moved away from his family and got depressed.
Maybe we need the psychic on to tell me if horses get depressed and why they get depressed, because I just feel like,
I think they do.
Like, have anybody experienced this before? Like,
you're so used to the thoroughbreds who are used to moving around too, and being, they don't hang around in one place too often.
Yeah, but this horse had been at the same place 11. He's been the same place since he was 3.
Oh, there you go. I mean,
and I just feel bad. Like I said, I'm like, listen,
you ruined his family.
I know, but I'm like, it could have been so much worse. You were sold on Craigslist, okay, for like a couple $1,000. Like it wasn't like you were a $15,000, $25,000 quarter horse. You were like you're lucky. You're lucky. Like I'm trying to explain that to him, and he just doesn't care, and he just won't eat. I mean, I'm making alfalfa pellets and all this. He was eating from an alfalfa round bale with mares and foals and sweet feed from Shawnee Feed Mill. Like, your life is different now. I'm sorry.
Give him time. Give him time.
Okay,
just to get used to his new family.
Oh, by the way, we did kind of come up with a name for him, and you can tell me what you think, because my farrier was supposed to name him.
Yeah, what was that? What did he?
And I went down and I was like, have you named him yet? And he was like, no, I don't yet. My farrier's like Oklahoma boy who like thinks I'm ridiculous. Like he's like, I was like, you have to. I've said it on the podcast. You have to name him. And so he left. And he never said, because I was up at the house, he left. And so I've texted him 3 times. And I'm like, what did you name him? He has ghosted me over this whole thing.
He doesn't want to be responsible.
I've even texted him about when he's coming back for an appointment. And he wrote back to that one. And I'm like, okay, so you're alive. What did you name the horse? Crickets. So his name is Famous Lil Runaway, is his quarter horse paper name.
Not much
Famous
to do with that. I mean, sometimes you can pick one of the words and go with it. But
I was like, I said to Ginger, I'm like, okay, on the count of 3, name the first famous person who comes to your mind. And we both listed 2 people, and both of us said the same name. And it's terrible. It's so stupid. But I couldn't think of anything besides Taylor Swift.
See, after the Olympics, though, I went Snoop.
Oh, that'd be good, Snoopy. That's cute too. Well, see, I should have played this game with you, but you named the, but you don't get to name this one.
That's where my mind went, because I've just been watching him for 2 weeks.
This is a big gelding, and I was like, I can't call him Taylor Swift. We'll name him after Taylor Sheridan, who did Yellowstone, and that's perfect because he's going to go be on a ranch in the country. I don't know. I'm not sold on it. I'm not.
Taylor's
sold
a
on
good
it.
name.
You like that?
Yeah, I like that.
I don't know. I'm not sold on it. She was like, what about Matthew McConaughey? And I was like, what do you want me to call him? Matthew?
Matt?
Like, no, he's not a Matt.
No,
he's
that's
definitely
a draft
not
horse.
a Matt.
It's Matt.
Yeah, it's true. So, farrier aside, if he didn't do such a good job, he would totally be fired because it was ridiculous.
I've ever met a horse named Matt.
I'm sure our listeners are cussing us out right now because somebody has a horse named Matt.
It's a famous horse that we've forgotten about.
My cousin's Matt, and I can't name a horse after my cousin. It says you can't do that, whatever. So anyway,
I do kind of like Taylor, though. That's a good.
You like Taylor?
Yeah, that's good.
I'm like, I named this 11-year-old big old chunky quarter horse after Taylor Swift. That was just the first famous name I could come up with.
Well, and she came up with it too, so it wasn't just you.
After I did.
Oh,
I said it first, and she came up with Matthew McConaughey after, but she was like, Taylor Sheridan. Yes, that's good. And I was like, I was thinking Taylor Swift.
Did you ask your son? Did you ask Lucas what he thought? He'd
no.
have an interesting name.
I'll ask him.
Yeah. That's good.
I'll be like, name somebody famous. He'll name some Guardians of the Galaxy person or some,
Yes. Deadpool.
you know, some Marvel character. I'll have a horse named Deadpool. Yeah. Wolverine.
All right, auditors, hang on. We'll do a post show for you. We have a full week.
Oh, by the way, I did see a movie with Lucas, and you'll be proud of me because it was not a romantic comedy or a kids movie. I saw the movie Trap, the new M. Night Shyamalan movie. Look it up. I saw it.
Okay.
I'll let you watch a preview.
Yeah, I've not heard of that one yet. I know
it's about a serial killer. Okay.
Great. That's good to
And
take your kids.
He's in a trap. Yeah, it was great. We loved it. We can't wait to watch it again.
God, did you see Deadpool and Wolverine is almost at $1 billion? It's going to be the most popular movie in like the last 30 years. It's crazy.
I just can't take my kid to Deadpool yet. I can't involve him in that quite yet.
No, neither one of those were my favorite, so I don't know why it's doing so well, but it is. Endurance show tomorrow, and then later on in the week, we have Equine Affair for you. So we have a full week of shows. If you want to get your weird news in, send it to Jamie at horseradionetwork.com. Really bad ads goes to Jennifer at horseradionetwork.com. Auditors, hang on.
Spay, neuter, geld. Winks is getting spayed this week. Oh, yeah.
Rubber band.
It's a girl.
Oh.
What is wrong with you?